2025 CSLB Contractors License, Law and Business Questions and Answers. Part 3. By Paint Thinner Gang. These are practice questions. These are not the exact same questions the state will give you. These Q&A will help you pass by studying them. What is the maximum penalty for negligence that damages a gas pipeline? C. $100,000. Which law ensures excavators have access to regional notification centers? B. The Underground Facilities Protection Act. What happens if an operator does not own the facility in question? B. The operator is not responsible for providing information or marking. How far in advance can excavation work be scheduled with the Regional Notification Center? B. 14 calendar days. What is the responsibility of underground installation operators after receiving notice from the excavator? A. Marking or staking the location of their facilities. What type of mapping is required for new subsurface installations after January 1, 2023? B. GPS-based Geographic Information System map. What is the free contact number for Underground Service Alert in California? Building 811. Which of the following is a consequence of failing to contact a regional notification center? C. Both A and B. What information is typically required when contacting a notification center? A. Name, project details, and exact location of excavation. What must be used to confirm safe digging conditions? B. Markings and clearance information provided by the operator. What happens if an excavator damages underground facilities but fails to report it? B. Penalties may be imposed and the contractor license could be revoked. What must a renter or lessee of excavation equipment agree to in the rental agreement? A. To handle all necessary regional notification center requirements. When must an excavator contact a regional notification center during emergencies? C. As soon as possible before starting. What type of work requires compliance with the regional notification center law? B. Any work involving digging, drilling, or boring. Which penalty applies if an excavation damages a hazardous liquid pipeline causing material escape? A. Up to $100,000 in fine. How can an operator assist excavators during a project? B. By marking the approximate location of installations. Who is exempt from the regional notification center requirements? A. Private homeowners improving their principal residence without a permit. What tool is primarily used for excavation marking by operators? A. Spray paint of designated colors. What is the validity period of a ticket number issued for an emergency excavation project? C. 28 days. What is required if human remains are discovered during construction? B. The site must be immediately reported to the county coroner. How much time does the coroner have to examine discovered remains? B. 2 working days. If the remains are Native American, what must the coroner do? A. Notify the Native American Heritage Commission within 24 hours. Who determines the treatment of Native American remains? C. The most likely descendant, MLD. How long does the most likely descendant have to make recommendations after notification? C. 24 hours. What happens if the landowner does not accept the descendant's recommendations? B. The Native American Heritage Commission mediates. What is required if mediation fails? A. The remains must be reinterred with dignity on the property. Which law provides protections for Native American burials? Business and Professions Code, Section 7050.5. What is the penalty for knowingly removing Native American remains? A felony charge punishable by imprisonment. What is the role of the Native American Heritage Commission? B. To provide guidance and notify descendants. What must happen to grave goods associated with Native American remains? A. They must be preserved with the remains. What is the consequence of failing to report the discovery of human remains? Criminal prosecution. What action must be taken before resuming work at a site with discovered remains? B. The site must be cleared by both the coroner and Native American Heritage Commission. Who can request mediation if there is a disagreement about handling remains? B. The landowner, or the most likely descendant. What is the primary intent of laws protecting Native American burials? B. To prevent vandalism and inadvertent destruction. What must be done with the remains if reinterred? A. They must be placed in a location not subject to further subsurface disturbance. What entity provides additional information on preserving Native American remains? B. The Native American Heritage Commission. How can individuals learn more about legal protections for Native American remains? B. By consulting the Native American Heritage Commission. What happens if an individual is found guilty of possessing Native American remains without authority? B. They face felony charges and possible imprisonment. Why is the Native American Heritage Commission involved in burial cases? B. To identify the most likely descendant and mediate disputes. What is the role of the most likely descendant in burial cases? B. To make recommendations for the treatment and disposition of the remains. Which agency is responsible for notifying descendants? B. Native American Heritage Commission. What must happen if grave goods are discovered alongside remains? A. They must be left untouched and report. What legal statutes protect Native American burials? A. Public Resources Code. Sections 5097.9 to 5097.991. What action must be avoided when human remains are discovered? B. Further excavation or disturbance of the site. What is a significant responsibility of the Native American Heritage Commission? C. Connecting with the most likely descendant. What is the purpose of reinterment? B. To protect the dignity of the remains and prevent further disturbance. How are penalties for disturbing Native American remains enforced? By state and local authorities. What must be considered for the final location of reinterred remains? D. Both B and C. What does appropriate dignity refer to in burial handling? A. Following cultural and historical considerations. What type of license is required to dig, bore, or drill a water well in California? AC 57 Water Well Contractors License. What is the primary purpose of filing a well completion report? DWR 188. B. To evaluate groundwater resources and protect water quality. What is the penalty for failing to file a well completion report? B. Misdemeanor charges and potential license disciplinary action. How long after completing a well project must the well completion report be submitted? B. Within 60 days. Which agency oversees the submission of well completion reports? B. California Department of Water Resources, DWR. What additional purpose do well completion reports serve for the state? B. To monitor and conserve water supply. What must be included in a well completion report? A. The well's depth and construction material. Which document contains California's official well construction standards? A. Bulletin 74. What happens if a local jurisdiction has stricter well standards than the state standards? A. The stricter local standards apply. What is required before starting any well construction or alteration project? A. A permit from the local enforcing agency. Which wells are included under the reporting requirements of California Water Code, sections 1375, 1 through 13754? B. Water wells, cathodic protection wells, and geothermal wells. What is the consequence of converting an oil or gas well into a water well without proper reporting? B. License suspension and misdemeanor charges. What is the primary use of information provided in well completion reports? C. Evaluating groundwater resource. Who typically enforces local well construction standards? A. The County Environmental Health Department. What must contractors obtain before modifying an existing well? Building a well modification permit from the local agency. What does Bulletin 74-90 primarily address? A. Monitoring wells and cathodic protection. What agency should be contacted for questions about well standards? A. California Department of Water Resources, DWR. What happens if a contractor operates without a C-57 license? A. They may face penalties and license revocation. Which wells require compliance with California's well standards? B. Water wells, monitoring wells, and geothermal wells. How are well completion reports submitted to the state? A. Through the online system of well completion reports, OSWC. Why might a local agency require permits for well construction? A. To regulate local environmental health. Who validates accounts for OSWCR users? A. California Department of Water Resources, DWR. What must contractors check before starting a well project? A. Local ordinances and required permits. What is required to ensure compliance with California well standards? C. AC 57 license and compliance with local ordinances. Why is adherence to Bulletin 74-81 critical? A. It ensures the safety and integrity of well construction. What is the role of the County Environmental Health Department in well construction? A. Enforcing local well ordinances and issuing permit. What information is included in Bulletin 74-90? A. Guidelines for monitoring wells and cathodic protection wells. What ensures uncontaminated water supply in well construction? A. Following the California Well Standard. What is a driller's log, also known as? A. Well completion report. What entity uses well completion reports to conserve water supplies? A. California Department of Water Resources, DWR. What is the primary mission of the Department of Consumer Affairs, DCA? B. To promote and protect the interests of California consumers. How many regulatory entities are included under the DCA? Beshalvan. Which board is part of the DCA, Bureau of Automotive Repair? What code governs the laws of the DCA, California Business and Professions Code? Who appoints the Director of Consumer Affairs? A. The Governor. What is the purpose of the DCA's regulatory boards? B. To enhance public participation and promote ethical standards. What is the main function of the Contractors State License Board, CSLB, under the DCA? B. To issue and manage contractor licenses. What must local governmental entities avoid according to Section 460? A. Prohibiting professionals from practicing within their licensed scope. What does Section 461 prohibit? A. Asking applicants about their arrest records during license. What is the retired category of licensure introduced in Section 464? A. A category allowing retired professionals to maintain a non-practicing license. What authority does Section 450.6 grant regarding public member appointments? A. Age restrictions are lifted for public members who have reached the age of majority. What does Section 452 define? A. The term board, as including boards, commissions, committees, and advisory groups. What is the maximum penalty for failing to comply with disciplinary actions under DCA laws? D. All of the above. What is required for a license reinstatement under Section 114? A. Full compliance with license term. Which section focuses on consumer complaints? Block Section 325. What does Section 315.2 authorize? A. Cease practice orders for violating terms of probation or diversion program. Who oversees the adoption of regulations ensuring compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA? B. The DCA Director. What does Section 108 cover? A. Status and powers of boards under the DCA. How often must statistical data be provided under DCA guidelines? A. Annually. What is the inactive category of licensure in Section 462? B. A status for professionals not currently practicing, but maintaining licensure. What is prohibited under Section 125.6? A. Unlawful discrimination by licensee.